Hello and good morning, everyone. It got a little cold last night. We had so much rain that it's cold again. So hopefully you're somewhere warm and cozy. Today we're going to be talking about how to launch a brand building social media strategy and how to create that social media game plan that caters specifically to your goals, your bandwidth, what you can handle, and your brand. So I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me okay. So if you um, can you just kind of put in the chat box that you can hear me? Okay, I just see some people are jumping on. I'm just gonna give it a minute. But if you can hear me, just kind of type in the chat box so you can let me know if you can hear me okay before I jump into it. I'm super excited about this workshop. I think it's really important for people to have a strategy when it comes to social media, one that ties into revenue goals for sure. Sometimes with social media, it can become overwhelming because you are always just trying to keep up on it. But oh, awesome! Carrie can hear me. Jake can hear me. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so okay, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it then. Awesome, you can hear me too. Perfect, thanks. All right, okay, so let's jump right into it then. Okay, so here's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to talk about why social media is important for you and your business. We're going to talk about how to create it's too early. A diversified range of quality content with limited time and resources, how to build an audience and turn them into paying customers, and then also how to create a predictable social media calendar for your business as well. And so when you're in the chat box, you'll notice that there's a few more tabs like Q&A, polls, handouts. When you go to the handout section, you'll see that I have 5 handouts there that you can download. But the very top one, the social media strategy worksheet, that's something that we're going to be working in quite a bit throughout this workshop. So if you want to go ahead and download that one right away, if you download it and you open it in a browser, you'll notice that you can type in it, but you won't be able to save it. So if you have like Adobe Acrobat or anything like that that's on your computer that allows you to view PDFs and you want to work along while doing this workshop, open an Adobe so that way when you're all done, you'll be able to save the work that you're filling out and the questions that you've answered as well. If anyone has any questions about that, just feel free to let me know. But that's where the handouts are for this session. All right, so let's talk about the goal today. So it's really about creating and implementing a predictable brand building social media strategy. And that will typically be tied to your revenue goals, or if you're an entity that doesn't necessarily have revenue goals, but you have maybe awareness goals or different kind of metrics, benchmarks that you need to meet in terms of awareness and engagement, then this will cover that as well. So I do have a confession. I can't teach you how to be creative. Creativity is something that I think innately comes in to us. But I think that I can teach you how to establish a framework on how to get there. So I know a lot of people, when they start doing social media, one of the things I hear most often is that they feel like they just don't know what to put out there. They don't know what to post, and then they get behind, and all of a sudden they're just putting up something for the sake of putting up something. So that's That's one thing that we're going to definitely do today is establish that framework that will help you know exactly what to post and when you want to post it. So the way that the workshop agenda is going to work is there's kind of 4 parts to the workshop. So the first one is looking at social media as a channel, how it ties into your marketing. And then there's going to be part 2 where we do the audience analysis. There's part 3, which is all about looking at creating content. So how much content can you create? What type of pieces of content can you create or your team can create? What are the capabilities and what is the bandwidth? You don't want to create too big of lofty goals if you know that your team can't fulfill it. If you know out of the gate that your team isn't going to be able to fulfill everything that you have created and you have planned, then it's really looking at, okay, well, who do I have that can be a resource to me, or who on our team can manage this, and how much time can they invest in it, and how much time will it take them to do the different tasks that they need to do. So I know a lot of people want to be able to do videos and infographics and all these kind of fun things, but if you say aren't a videographer and you don't really have a way to be able to make videos, or you just don't live in that type of work every day and it takes you a really long time, then you just kind of have to look at input versus output. And we'll take a look at that too. And then the 4th part is about building your calendar and looking at what you want to post when. And like I said, a lot of this is built out in that worksheet, that very first worksheet. And if you are able to open into Adobe, you're going to be able to fill this out as you go along. If not, then just grab your notebook. You can still answer all the questions and be able to still work along. But sometimes it's nice just to be able to fill it out on the PDF. Okay, so let's talk about social media as a channel. Where does organic social media fit into the customer value journey? And some people on this webinar may not be familiar with the customer value journey, so I'm just going to do a quick spiel on that so everyone's on the same page. So everything that we do here at Success with Digital and in our agency, Geronimo Solutions, is based off the customer value journey. And what this is, it's an 8-step process that's based on human psychology that helps to move people from being perfect strangers to brand advocates. And so they do that by working through the different stages of the customer value journey. It's based off of the work of a famous zoologist named Desmond Morris. And what he did was research. He researched mammals, but then one day he had this question: how does human intimacy happen? And what he found was, he started this study, and what he found was that between humans, to get from being perfect strangers to being married and intimate, there's actually 12 stages of intimacy. So it could be first is eye to body, eye to eye, voice to voice, saying hello, hand to hand, handshakes, arm on the shoulder, hug, and then it moves on all the way to bow chicka wow wow and marriage and all that kind of fun stuff. And so the customer value journey is based off of the work that Desmond Morris did in how that intimacy happens. Because when it comes to business and it comes to marketing, it's not necessarily B2B, business to business, and it's not necessarily B2C, business to customers. It's really H to H, human to human. And so when you're crafting your social media posts or your ad copy, or even blog posts, website content, everything that you do, sometimes it can be difficult to kind of get it out of that mindset of writing in a kind of super professional voice that doesn't have a lot of personality. But at the end of the day, when you put out those messages, it's really being absorbed and touched on by another human. And so for us, we work through the different stages of the customer value journey. And Desmond Morris was talking about human intimacy and getting to the stage of marriage, or to people getting sexually intimate. And so we have 8 stages because we don't necessarily need 12. All right. And so those 12 stages, the first stage is aware. So when people become aware of you, that they didn't know who you were, they're just learning about you, that's when they become aware. So when someone becomes aware from you, they could see a social media post, maybe they see an ad, maybe they heard from you from a peer, like a word of mouth referral. From there, then you would want them to be able to engage with you some way. So that could be liking a post, maybe reading an article, visiting your website, any kind of engagement where they're interacting with your content in some way. From engage, they're going to go to the subscribe stage. And at this point, this is them being willing to give you their contact information. So that can be them signing up for an email list. It could be really them opting in on your site to get a white paper or some kind of PDF. And then from there, it goes to the convert stage. Now, in the convert stage, a lot of people think conversions, they think money. And I know there's a dollar sign at there, but typically, if say your core offer, the thing that you sell all the time is like $100, at the convert stage, this isn't where you would be trying to sell them your main offer. It's trying to sell them a low dollar offer, something that's splintered off your core offer that would be a really easy, quick buy. So something that would be, $5, $10, something really small that they can consume quickly. And that is just teaching them to buy from you. Or sometimes at the convert stage, it could be not monetary at all. Sometimes this can actually just be time, because for some people, time is just as valuable as money. And so if they're willing to do, say, a walkthrough of a platform, if they're willing to do that initial consultation, if you provide services, any kind of thing like that, they're investing their time in you. And so that would still be considered something that you would have at the convert stage. From there, you would want them to go to the excite stage. And what this stage is all about is really that first conversion that you got, whether it's a time conversion or a money conversion, that's them getting genuinely excited about the experience that they had with you. That's them getting value out of that first interaction. And so you'll notice that there's like these solid arrows that go to the next stage, and then you'll notice that there's some outlined arrows. Sometimes people don't move directly to the next stage. Sometimes they circle back and they kind of live in that, they'll convert and they'll do like a low dollar buy and they get excited about it, but then they go back to engage and subscribe because they're not quite ready to move on to your core product. But the excite stage out of all of these stages is probably one of the most important, just because this is where they genuinely get excited about your brand, about your products. And so you want to have that because that's where brand advocacy really starts to grow. So after the excite stage, that's when you get to the ascend stage. And so the ascend is really your core offer. So if you sell, like for us, our core offer would be on the agency side would be the done for you marketing. Well, this workshop might be a convert stage. And we would hope that you would get excited from coming to our workshops and then maybe eventually want to work with us in another capacity. Okay, so once you get to the ascend stage, that's your core offer. And then it's upselling them on all the different things that you could possibly sell them. So that's really about increasing their customer value. If you're able to kind of predictably sell your customers more things over time, then their value becomes higher, and then you're able to do more with your marketing because you know that of the marketing dollars that you spend, if your customer value is much higher, then you can spend more to acquire that customer because they're just worth more over time. All right, so from the ascend stage, it goes to the advocate stage. The advocate stage is when you ask a customer if they would be willing to give you a testimonial, and then they say yes, they're willing to be an advocate for you. From there, the next stage is the promote stage. And so the difference between the advocate stage and the promote stage is that at the advocate stage, you ask them if they would be willing to give you a testimonial. And then at the promote stage, they just love you so much that you don't even have to ask them anymore. They just want to tell your tell their friends and family about you because they think you're so amazing. And so that's the customer value journey, moving from that awareness stage all the way to promote. Does anyone have any questions about that um, before I kind of talk a little bit more where social media comes in? Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. I breathed in and I kind of choked a little. Okay, so when it comes to social media, it's a lot of the posts can be in that aware stage. It can be things that you're just really trying to gain that brand awareness and maybe get some virility on your post. Maybe you're trying to be educational. And so a lot of social media posts can fit into that aware stage. You're just trying to get people to know about you. But typically, when you're posting to social media, if you're not paying for traffic, if you're not paying to turn that post into an ad, then you're really only showing that post to the people that already like your page or already follow you on social media. And so it can be in that aware stage, but you might end up having to supplement that organic traffic with a little bit of boosting or understanding what content you want to turn into ads. Or if it's the type of content that has that virility to it and a lot of people are willing to share it or engage with it because it's good content, they like it or they comment, then that allows it to spread a little bit further. So the aware stage, social media definitely comes into play. Engage. Is a lot. So when people start to, even if they don't follow you on social media and they're thinking about maybe working with you or they're thinking about coming to your shop, they will most likely search you online. They'll go to your Facebook page, they'll check out your website, they'll look at your Google reviews, they'll do all those things to do the research to find out if they think that you're a good fit for them. A lot of people do that research now online before they even reach out to you. So engage would be where social media really plays a big part because when they come to your page, they want to know that they're in the right place. They want to know that this is the right company, this is the right business to do work with or to buy from. And so social media can play a big part in that, especially how you manage kind of comments and all that kind of stuff. And in terms of the content that you put out too, if you sell musical instruments and all you do is post, buy this musical instrument's on sale. Well, people might come to that feed and be like, wow, this is really not the type of content that I'm in because I don't want to be sold all the time. But if they come and they see, tips and tricks on how to change guitar strings or how to tune a guitar or, how to practice a lot, then it can be something where they say, wow, I'm going to get value by following this page. And so that's really what you want to have in mind when you're building a social media strategy. When it comes to subscribe, social media can play a part in subscribe, but a lot of times you're going to have a landing page or something else where they're going to sign up for the newsletter. But you can use it as a platform to let people know to do that. Really, social media plays a part in all of these stages. When it comes to conversions, using your audience to be able to promote to them, and then again, promoting your your main products as well. The advocate stage, when you're asking for testimonials, you can ask for testimonials that don't necessarily happen on Facebook or on social media, but even if you're not doing that, you would definitely want to be trying to find a way to be able to get more reviews on Facebook or Google My Business, those places where people go to check out reviews. And so the advocate stage can be a place, and even being able to share when people are willing to give you a testimonial and they put it on your Facebook page, even using those reviews to share to your feed is great because it shows that proof. It has that social proof to it. Someone that's in that aware stage that are coming and researching you, if they come and they say, wow, all these people review them and they have such great things to say about them, it's that trust building. And same thing with promote. So we have a client that is a family-owned restaurant, and now because we've been building their brand since basically 2014, 2015, they have a lot of people that are in that promote stage. So even putting out a post that's saying thank you so much to our dedicated customers that have been with us for so long, there will be hundreds, literally hundreds of people that comment on the post and just say, oh, you're the best, we love you so much, your food's so good, all of that kind of fun stuff. And so you can really use the fact that people are in that promote stage to gain excitement of people that maybe aren't quite there yet. Okay. So I think it's important to reframe how we think about social media. Because if you think about social media as a proving ground, and so what I mean by that is it's a way to be able to kind of prove who you are, prove what your business is about, prove that you provide value, prove that that people should shop from you or work with you. It really is about people kind of checking out and making calculated decisions based on what they see. And so thinking about social media, understanding that people are using it to judge and assess whether they want to work with you or how they feel about your entity. And so it really is about kind of that proving ground and a place to be able to make your mark. It's also important to think of social media as an ecosystem. There's pages, there's groups, there's individual people, and people are connected in different ways. You think of friend of a friend. There's different ways to collaborate with other businesses. There's Messenger. It's really this whole little ecosystem that works together. And so even if you have a post and there's people sharing it publicly to their pages, they could also be sharing it to their friends through Messenger. They could be screenshotting it and sending it to people. There's this kind of whole connection, this of community. And so to understand that it's an ecosystem and that it really works together even between social media platforms. If you notice now, people will screenshot funny posts that they've seen on Twitter, and then they'll screenshot it, and that's what they'll post on Facebook. So even between external platforms, there's this ecosystem that happens, right? There's repost on Instagram that you can repost someone else's post on Instagram, but then you can share it to Facebook. And so there's this whole kind of ecosystem in terms of how social medias are now being connected by people. All right. So, and then also to think of social media as a giant networking event. And so when you're at a networking event, you usually kind of have your best face forward, you're introducing yourself, you're saying hello, you're trying to meet at least 3 people every time. And so social media is really about networking. And so I kind of want to speak to service-based people too, or people that are like the face of their company, or maybe salespeople, because even on social media, there's a lot of relationship building that you can do when you're on social media. I know for me, I'm a part of SWIB, which is Sue Women in Business. It's a women in business group. And although sometimes I'm not necessarily promoting myself within the group, I will go through and like people's posts and interact with them on their products and that kind of thing. And so when I see those same business owners in person, we're able to like follow up and catch up and be like, oh, I saw that post. And so it really is a networking event. It's a good way to be able to build connections, not just on Facebook, but also on LinkedIn as well. It's also good to think of social media as another homepage. And so here's an example of a really nice Facebook page. You can see their logos there. They've got some really good imagery. And then when you come to their homepage, it feels the same. It doesn't look like there's a disconnect between what they're putting out in terms of content and visual on their Facebook page. It goes over to their homepage and it still carries that same feeling. Here's another example for Harry's. And then when you come to their homepage, it's very on brand, I guess would be a way to describe that. When you go to their Facebook page, and then if you were to click over to their website, all of a sudden it looks like you're in the right place. With social media, it's also really important to think mobile first. And so here's some examples where you can see that we're using big square images. We're looking at, even the middle option here. It has their cover photo is designed in a way that even on mobile, you can see what they're saying. So keeping the text to the center of your cover photo so that on mobile it shows up. And then even on the left-hand side, when you see this image here, this is a square image. Now they're even allowing landscape or not landscape, sorry, portrait videos in the feed that are even taller. But when you're putting out content and people are scrolling through their feed, if you can take up half of their screen with your image or with your video, that's a good experience for them. When you do, the typical 16:9 video on mobile, they actually have to turn their phone in order to be able to get a larger view. But when you have a square, it's the same ratio. And so they're able to just watch it in their feed as it is. Okay, so now that we talked about kind of having that changing your frame of mind when it comes to social media, let's look at steps 1 and 2. And all about setting your goals for social media. Okay, so if you haven't downloaded the social media strategy worksheet yet, definitely do that because we're going to start hopping into the different sections of that worksheet. Also, I talked about the customer value journey. We do have a worksheet there as well. It's called the CVJ PDF. And if you wanted to download that as well, that's there for you. Okay, so why set goals when it comes to social media? I guess it comes to that old saying, if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. If you don't set goals in terms of benchmarks and deliverables, then you're always just kind of up in the air and working. So it's really good to set goals. And so here are 5 different things that we'll often look at when it comes to setting goals. We can look at, do we want to increase the amount of followers we have? Do we want to increase the awareness that we have, our audience? Is that something that we want to do? Number 2, engagement. Are we looking to have people just engage with our content? Do we want to create funny content or inspirational content that more people are going to engage with? Or traffic. Are we wanting to drive people to our website? Do we want them to be able to go from social media to our website? And that's a driver for us, is to be able to drive more traffic to our website so that they can get more information, or we can promote specific content on our site, or even start building custom audiences based off your website traffic. There's also credibility. Are you a new business and you're trying to get your name out there and you're really trying to build credibility within your audience and your peers? And then there's things like relationships. And this is really big in like the service-based industry, or even in the sales industry, or even for people like me as business owners, building relationships with the people that I want to work with, or that I do work with, or that are in my circle of friends and circle of influence. And so when you go to the first part of the social media worksheet, you'll be able to set your goals. And so based on your goals, you can look, are you looking to generate awareness? Do you want to entertain people? You know, do you want to be funny? Do you want to just kind of give them some viral content that's going to make their day, make them laugh? Are you looking to inform them in the sense that do you want to teach them? Do you want to educate them? Is there things that they need to know that they might not be aware of? Or is there other, businesses within your industry that you want to share and just kind of inform people that people are there and people are available? So then when it comes to driving traffic, do you want to drive traffic to your site? Are you trying to drive more people to your social media profiles? Or even a profile that maybe is outside of, if you're posting on Facebook, but you're trying to get Instagram profile views, then that could be something that's not necessarily your site, but it's still a place that you're trying to drive people to. And then when it comes to engaging with your audiences, there's conversations and then there's kind of content. And so conversations are more like, are you looking to, as a goal, to be able to create more conversations, meaningful conversations between you and your audience? Are you asking, questions that make people think, or questions where people are open to giving their opinion? Is that the type of content that you want? And then there's actually content, which would be more in that educational or stories or pictures of your staff, that kind of thing. And then there's also convert. Are you wanting to convert your audience? Are you wanting to turn them into more customers? Are you wanting to get more followers? That kind of fun stuff. So once you've checked off that, then the next step is to go to the second section, and then to say, okay, well, of the things that you checked off, just kind of write out 2, 3 kind of sentences that define what those goals are. So a few examples would be, I want to create more educational, or I won't get into content yet. I want to be able to put out content that makes my audience laugh more. I want to entertain them. I have specific services on my website that I want my audience, that I want to drive my audience to. Or it could be too, like, I want to be able to grow my followers to the point where I get to 2,000 likes on my Facebook page. Those are really great ways to do goals. And so complete steps 1 to 2, and then just identify 3 goals for your organic social media efforts. So I'm just going to give you a minute just to kind of complete that, and then we'll move on to the next session. All right, so let's move on to the second part, which is doing an audience analysis. So when looking at your audience, you might have, depending on your business, you might have a wide range of people that could follow you depending on the mix of your customers and your audience. But it's a good thing to understand, maybe even at a high level, who they are. And so in the third step, we're going to identify who your audience is. And so here are some questions that we can ask. What's their age range? What are their job titles? What are their interests? What kind of things do they like to do? What kind of hobbies do they have? Also, what do they need to succeed? If you have a product or service that solves a need, what do they need in order to be able to succeed? Okay. You can also look at what hashtags do they use or follow, and can you implement those into your social media strategy? You can write those down as well. And then what types of content does your audience consume? And so what I mean here is some people, like especially younger demographics, they prefer videos. They would actually prefer a short 15-second video over having to read a longer format social post. Some people, depending on the audience, they might actually prefer to always link over and be able to read a longer format blog post. Some people like to read memes that are just short and funny and that kind of thing, or inspirational, or those kind of things. But so kind of think about what type of content does your audience consume. If you haven't mapped out your buyer personas before, like your target market, in the handout section, I do have at the last one listed there is the buyer persona worksheet. And if you wanted to download that and fill that out in your own time, I do have the questions, these specific questions on the social media strategy worksheet. So go ahead and just start thinking and filling out those questions. So, and it's okay if you have a really large age range. When you think about someone, say, that has music lessons, yes, their primary audience are kids, but there's people of all ages that want to learn how to play music. The audience age range might be younger, but then their parents or their grandparents might be in your audience as well, because they're the ones paying for the lessons, or they're the ones that are the true brand advocates that follow you. When it comes to job titles, sometimes this is relevant, sometimes it's not as relevant, but if you are speaking to a specific industry, it's good to know what those job titles can be. And it's not always like one particular job title, there can be many, but understanding what roles your audience work within, it's good to know that. It's good to kind of get that kind of mapped out, so that when you are creating content, if you're a company that does, bookkeeping services, well, you're probably looking to want your audience to be either business owners or people that work within a corporate setting that want to outsource their bookkeeping, that kind of thing. Same thing with interests. When you start looking at what their interests are, then you could say, okay, well, I know that they like golf, so I can go and look at other pages that post about golf, and maybe I can just share some of their content every once in a while to make it more interesting. And so just take a minute to be able to fill out that section. Okay, and if anyone has any questions as they're filling this out, feel free to put it into the chat and I'd be happy to kind of help you work through that. Does anyone need another minute? Okay, I'm gonna keep going, trucking along. All right. So step 4 is all about choosing your primary platform. And you can be on multiple platforms if you have the bandwidth to do it. But looking at what your primary platform or platforms is going to be is a good idea. And so this is really, again, about understanding what your audience is doing. So, what their interests are, what type of content do they consume, those kind of things. Does your audience, are they primarily on Facebook? Are they Instagrammers? Do they use Snapchat? LinkedIn. Where is your audience, and how can you best connect with them? Because when it comes to social media, it does take time to create content, and if and it does take time to manage multiple accounts. And so it's better to have one really good social media account, social media profile, than it is to have like three that are just done kind of mediocre, or that you just, because you're so stretched so thin between the three, that you're not able to do really solid content on either of them. And so we're going to look at the top 3 social media platforms right now. That's going to be Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So when it comes to Facebook, they have the biggest and most diverse audience. This is true around the world, and it's even more so true in where we are in Sault Ste. Marie and Northern Ontario. So when it comes to Facebook, this is primarily where, for us, we have a lot of our local clients start, just because that's where a lot of the local people are hanging out. When people move here from Toronto or from other bigger cities, they're used to using Instagram more. But yeah, it's a little bit different in Sault Ste. Marie. The second thing to think about with Facebook is that it's often an older audience. So there are some of the young kids that still have Facebook, but a lot of them get Facebook because they don't want to share their Instagram or their Snapchat with grandma. So there's this diverse age on Facebook, but you will find that if you're looking for that, kind of older audience, and I don't mean older in the sense of senior, I mean older in the sense of middle age and older, then you're going to find that a lot of them are on Facebook. One of the things with Facebook too is that you can drive traffic from Facebook. You can put links on Facebook and drive people to your site, where with Instagram, all you really have is that one link in your bio. So Facebook is a good option for driving traffic. And then with Facebook, you can also run Facebook ads, which you can run ads on their actual network. So your ads can show up in like the news feed, in Messenger, but then you can also run ads that show up in their audience network. And what that means is when people click over to content through Facebook, whether it be a blog post or something else, a lot of times you can run Facebook ads and it'll be within that content that they've clicked out of Facebook on. So Facebook is really probably the number one platform to date. Then when it comes to Instagram, it's typically a younger audience. Again, it's not to say that there isn't older people on it, but it is a younger audience. Also with Instagram, it's very visual heavy. And so it's all images. So if you have the type of business where it just doesn't make sense for you to take pictures, right? Like I had an accountant once that they're like, oh, I tried to do Instagram, but I realized that all I could do most days is really just like take a picture of my coffee mug. And so if the type of kind of social media content or the type of things that you would be sharing are not like visually heavy, or it's not something that would really, you know, be image appropriate, I guess, then it could be not really super, um, and not a really great platform to work on, because it would just, you would find it very difficult to maintain content relevancy. Instagram is great for lifestyle and e-commerce brands, and it is good for local businesses too, if just if you have the type of content that you can share. So a lot of retail stores, they can share, clothing that people are trying on, new stuff that's coming in. There's just a lot of things that you can do in terms of the retail space, but often in the service space, it'll be, for me, I could share what I do, my live workshops, that kind of thing. But for the most part, I'm sitting at a computer. And so it's hard to really maintain a good Instagram profile for us as well. And then with Instagram, you can run Facebook and Instagram ads. I should also mention that Facebook owns Instagram. And so when you run ads on Facebook, you can choose, if you have an Instagram account, or even if not, you can choose that you want to run your ads on Instagram as well. And then on Instagram, you can run ads on there as well. There is the ad network to it. Okay. All right. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really about business professionals. Of the people that are on LinkedIn, they are the highest income audience. And that's primarily, it kind of goes with the type of it kind of goes with the type of platform that it is, because it is a business professional networking. So the people have typically higher salaries than maybe on average than the people that are on Facebook. So if you're looking for those high incomes that you're promoting to, then it could be that could be a driver to LinkedIn. If you do a lot in the B2B space, then LinkedIn is definitely a place where you want to be. It is an older audience, but I find that even young professionals, there is a big presence of young professionals, and I don't know if that's primarily in Sault Ste. Marie, but I find that there are quite a few young professionals on there as well, but it is typically an older audience. And it's great for building your personal network. So making those connections, chatting with people, talking business and that kind of fun stuff. So it's a great platform for that. You'll notice that I don't have LinkedIn ads listed here. LinkedIn does have the capability to do ads, but they're quite expensive. And in Sault Ste. Marie, they don't even have a way for you to be able to target just Sault Ste. Marie. They're very limited in their targeting. And so we, as a city, can't even choose our city as a place where we want to run our ads. They have some workarounds where you can join Sault Ste. Marie groups and that kind of thing, and then be able to build your ad to show to those people. But that would be a very small subset of the actual business professionals that are within Sault Ste. Marie. So the next step is to complete step 4 and just decide what is going to be your primary platform. All right, step 5 and 6, conducting your competitive analysis. Okay, so in step 5, it's all about looking at the competition and understanding what they're doing as well. And sometimes it's good. I don't think it's a good idea to always be focusing on your competition and, really worrying about what they're doing. But it is good to analyze what they're doing and what you see is working for them and that kind of stuff. So we're gonna take the next 5 minutes or so to complete step 5. So identify 3 to 5 competitors who speak to your audience, and then just fill out what their name is, and then go to their Facebook page, or go, if Facebook is your primary platform, then go find them on Facebook and see how many followers do they have. Check out how many times per day do they post, what types of content are they posting, and what types of ads are they putting out. And I'm just going to give me one moment. I'll show you how you can look and see what ads people are running. Okay. Oh, some people they're actually removing it from. Just give me a moment. There was a way to be able to see what people were running for ads. I'm just going to, it almost seems as though, all right. While you fill that out, I am going to sometimes Facebook changes things on us and we don't know what's happening. Just give me one moment. Yeah, they might have removed the option. Okay. Okay, so Facebook was working out this thing before where they must have just removed it, but you would be able to go to a Facebook page and see the different ads that they have running. But it seems as though I've checked quite a few pages now, and it seems that they've taken that away. So while you're filling out your competitors, I'm just going to see if I can see it on mobile. It is gone. So please, on that last question, what type of ads are they putting out on Facebook? We'll just have to just kind of skip past that question because they have removed the ability to see what people are posting. Now, normally when we run these workshops, people are able, if we're doing it in person, people are able to fill these out as we go. Do you want me to give you time to be able to do that now, or do you kind of want me to just kind of keep talking and it's something that you want to be able to do on your own? Okay. Mhm. Okay, perfect. Okay, so some people kind of want me to just plug away. All right. So there's the second section, which is very similar to this one. It's all about competitive analysis. But what is different about this section is it's non-competitors who speak to your audience. And so I'm going to just keep going with the music school. I can go and look as a music school. If I was looking at my competitors, I would go and look at other music schools and then look at how many followers they have, how much they're posting, that kind of thing. But then there's the second part in step 6 is looking at non-competitors. And so as a music school, my audience would be primarily kids and their parents. And so who are some non-competitors that speak to my audience? It might be the gymnastics club, it might be swimming lessons, it might be karate, it might be all of these different things. As a music school, I'd be an extracurricular activity. So although someone might not be my direct competitor, they're still speaking to my same audience. And so to think of, people that would still be speaking to your audience, but maybe not be direct competitors, start jotting down who those people are and see how many followers they have, how many times a day do they post, or how many times a week, and what type of content are they posting as well. And don't just look at just what they're posting as content. Really look at the content that they're posting that's getting engagement. And so if they have a bunch of posts, but they don't have any likes on it, well, that probably wasn't engaging. If you say, oh, no likes, no likes, no likes, and then all of a sudden there's a post that has like 10 likes, and you're like, oh, okay, so that audience kind of liked that, right? If you can gauge from their posts, then you can kind of mark those down. And once we've done that, then we're going to have completed part 2, which is the audience analysis. And then we're going to start getting into kind of planning out and creating the content. All right, and so I'm just going to give a couple minutes just in case you do want to go to Facebook and look at non-competitors. I'm just going to just kind of give a couple minutes before we jump into the content so you can kind of fill out your worksheet a little bit. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat box. All right. So let's start looking at step 7, choosing your content mix. So what do social media platforms want the most? What does Facebook want, Instagram, all of those people? Well, what they really want is for people to spend more time on their platform. And the reason for that is the more time that someone spends, the more ads they can serve, the more revenue that is generated. And so what they really want is for people to spend more time on their platform. And that's why one of the biggest pieces of content that people can put out these days is video. Video is king right now in terms of social media. From LinkedIn to Facebook to Instagram, it is literally the number one type of content that people are absorbing currently. So that's really looking across all platforms. And videos, these don't always have to be high production videos. In fact, it's been said over and over again across multiple studies that people don't necessarily want to watch super polished videos that have high production value. They're really okay with people just holding their cell phones and doing quick videos and talking, because if you think back, it's not B2B, it's not B2C, it's human to human. And so just how people are interacting with their friends and their families on social media, you can interact with them the same way. And so there's videos, and then there's also the next thing, which can be videos or images, are stories. And so stories were originally just on Facebook, but just on Instagram, but Facebook now has them as well. And so stories really are a great way to kind of be in people's feeds, because what happens is, and I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with stories on here, what happens is when you click into a story, then you get to watch that story, but then it moves to the next one and it moves to the next one. We're having really good engagement with stories on an organic level and also on an ad level. So stories are a great way to be able to just say, hey, this is what we're doing today, or hey, there's a sale on, or hey, look at this funny thing that happened. Stories are a great way to do that. Shares. So shares are literally the easiest type of content you'll ever produce, sharing other people's content. And so when you look at, we do this often with our clients in terms of sharing content that we know is good. Sandro's Restaurant is an Italian restaurant, and we will share funny Italian posts that we've seen, or if you are a music school, you can look at, search for videos of kids playing instruments and share that content, educational content, really even newsworthy content. If there's been a big announcement in the city, or there's a big event coming up, that's great content just to be able to have as feel good content. So sharing content is the easiest content you'll ever produce. And then there's also looking at comments. When it comes to content, a lot of people think of just posts, but comments are another piece of the strategy. And I think not enough people really put focus on making sure that they comment and reply to the people that are engaging them online. I think a big part of the success that we've had with our clients is the fact that we do that reputation management, and we make sure that everyone is commenting. Everyone that's commented has been replied to, and vice versa. And so what we're going to look at now is the PDF in the handout section that's called the Content Mind Maps. So if you download that and open it up, we're just going to go ahead and take a look at it. So it's broken up into Facebook, LinkedIn. There is Twitter on there as well. And so when you open that up, again, it'll open up in the browser, but you should be able to open it up in Adobe. And if you wanted to, we're going to go through what's listed here, but then once you get to all the ideas, there's a section at the bottom where you can start typing in what type of Facebook videos you think that you should have, what type of links you think you can share, and allows you to make notes there. Okay, so when it comes to Facebook, there are, for video, there's a lot of different types of videos that can be shared across Facebook. There's presentation snippets, if there's local events, live events, if you've done recordings of those, being able to put up little snippets of that presentation. It might be if you've done a podcast and you want to be able to share it, being able to turn that into a video, little clips of it. That's a great thing. An event promo, if you know that there's an event coming up, you can do a promo video for that. It can be, videos that are like quick tips where there's a picture in the background and just a bit of text on the front. It could be quick facts. It could be text-based videos too, customer stories and company updates, and just really, I'm not going to go through every type that's listed here, but when you start reading through the different types of videos, there's really a lot of types of videos and types of content. And so I guess for you, what you'll have to decide is what kind of content can you share in video format that would make sense for your audience. And then when it comes to links, you can link to blog posts, podcasts, your current promotions, live streams, YouTube videos. Links are pretty straightforward. It's really just if it's the type of content that your audience wants to consume, then go ahead and share it. All right. And so with the photos, really there's so many types of photos that can be shared. But we find that being able to share your staff and your location and those personal kind of, photos that like give your company a heart really, really get high engagement. And then there's times when, you could do like a throwback Thursday. There's a gentleman in town that owns a clothing store. They've been open for 100 years, and they do a Throwback Thursday where they say this day in history. We also do quite a few of historical posts, sharing old images from a home developed, like a home hardware store, and we share history on that. There's also like fun facts where you can just create like photos and just like put a little bit of text on it. Quotes, really a lot of different things that you can do on that. So then there's things that are just like statuses. That might be, it doesn't need an image, it doesn't need a video. It could be just something that you need to know, like our office is closing today, or something, funny just happened, and maybe you needed to help a customer with something that was really silly, so you can not talk about that customer in the social post, but just be like, oh, as a reminder, don't do this, right? There's shares, so you can look at people that you work with and businesses that you connect with and share their content. It could be industry news in terms of sharing other people's successes or anything new that's come out, and then also shares in terms of videos and photos that you see people sharing. And then one of the newer features are the polls. So this could be really engaging if you want to know an answer to a question or what your audience thinks about something. It could be, small quizzes. It could be a giveaway. You could look at, like hot industry topics, whether people feel like they agree or disagree about a certain thing. Just don't don't talk about religion or politics unless you're a religious or politician. Or you can do like this or that opinions where you can just ask people questions. So polls can sometimes be a fun thing to do. All right. Does anyone have any questions about that so far? I'm just going to check the chat. Okay, perfect. Okay, so when you get to Instagram, a lot of it's going to be the same. Again, I'm not going to go through all of the different types that go under each section, but with Instagram, there's kind of three things that you can do. You can do videos, you can do photos, or you can do stories. And in each of these sections is the ability to just look at like what we have listed there. When it comes to Twitter, you can do video, you can do links, you can do photos, tweets, retweets, which is essentially sharing, and then there's polls. And then when it comes to LinkedIn, there's videos, there's links, there's photos, there's just regular status updates, and then there's link shares as well. So once you get past the LinkedIn section, there is a section there where you can start filling out and making notes on like, okay, well, these are the type of videos we want to do. These are the links that we know we want to share. These are the photos. And so if you look at the different topics that we give as examples, then you can just kind of make notes like, oh, this is the type of photo I think I should share, and go through and do that with each of the platforms. If you're going to be on them. If you're just using the one primary platform, then of course, just do the one that you were using. All right. Okay, so then on the worksheet, what we're going to want to do is you can choose your content mix in section 7. And that's really just kind of checking off on Facebook. If you wanted to do Facebook, are you going to be looking to do videos? And just start checking off the things that you think that you're going to be doing. Okay. Next step is all about identifying your tools. So the first thing that we're going to talk about are schedulers. When it comes to natively within the platform, Facebook is the only platform right now that allows you to schedule within it. So Instagram, you can't schedule in it, and LinkedIn, you can't schedule in it either. So we're going to just talk about some of the different platforms that there are. So the pros and cons of being able to schedule right within Facebook. The pros would be that it's free. Also that it stays within the platform. So you're not having to use a third-party platform. The third one is you have access to all the platform's features. Facebook does have a lot of features for people that want to post from within the platform that you don't necessarily get using a third-party platform. The cons is it's only available on Facebook. But if Facebook's your primary platform and that's really all you want to use, then you might feel that it's not super necessary for you to use a third-party platform. Another con with using Facebook as a scheduler is that there's no calendar visualization. So let's look at some of the different platforms. There's Buffer. So Buffer is anywhere from free to $99 a month, depending on how many social profiles you have. But most people, I think, pay about that $20, the people that I know that use Buffer. Okay, so pros with Buffer is that it's a low cost. It's very simple to use. There is a built-in image creator, and this is a really great platform for like small teams that don't need a lot of segregation. It wouldn't necessarily be useful for a company like mine where we deal with a lot of different brands that need to be segregated into their own kind of workspaces. But Buffer as like a singular small business use, it's great for small teams. The cons of Buffer is that it has limited analytics. So if you are really a numbers person, and you like to pay attention to the analytics, it does have very limited analytics in it compared to some of the other things that we're going to talk about. Another con would be maybe that it's bare bones and lackluster in terms of the user experience. And so what that just means is that the way that it's designed, it's not super robust, and it's just a little bit plain. But some people prefer that. All right. So then there's Hootsuite. So Hootsuite can be typically anywhere from $29 per month to $129 per month. I do want to mention that all the prices that I'm mentioning are in US dollars because these companies bill in US dollars. So this would, I'm just putting the price exactly how we found it on the website. So all of the dollar amounts that you see right now would need to be converted into Canadian funds. One of the downfalls of our dollar not being super strong compared to the US. I really miss the days when it was on par. That was a really fun time. Okay, so with Hootsuite, some of the pros are it's been around for a really long time. Hootsuite is one of the original schedulers. And so it's been around a long time. It also has some advertising and boosting integration. So you would be able to, if you're doing advertising or you're doing boosts, you are able to maybe integrate and be able to do some of that within it. So you don't have to go to, say, Facebook Ads Manager to do it separately. So that could be a pro. Also, there's built-in education. So Hootsuite has a lot of information. So if you're just kind of getting started and you're not really sure how it works or what to do, they do have built-in education, which is really nice to be able to have that on hand. Some of the cons when it comes to Hootsuite is that it can be a bit clunky, just meaning that it just, sometimes when you're in the platform, it doesn't quite feel natural on where to go next. There's just so much going on. And then one of the cons with Hootsuite as well is that they have pay-to-play analytics. So a lot of platforms will just provide you analytics to be able to see how your social posts are doing. But with Hootsuite, it's a pay-to-play. All right. And then there's Sprout Social. Sprout Social is more expensive. It's $99 per month, $249 per month. This is actually my favorite platform, but that's because I'm an agency and I manage multiple clients separately, and it integrates. We use just a lot of the platforms that we use, programs we use, integrate with it. Okay, so with Sprout Social, it has really robust analytics. It can not only pull analytics based on your posts, but you can do just Facebook reporting. There's a whole reporting section within Sprout Social, and you can either pull the reports one off, or like what we do is we have reports that get emailed out to ourselves and to our clients every month. It also is like a little mini CRM for social media. And what I mean by that is CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. And so within social, as people are starting to engage with your content, you can start making notes on it. And so that kind of ties into the third one, is that they have social listening tools. So if you are responsible for commenting and replying to comments and messages, there is the ability to do that right within Sprout Social. And then all of the people that comment or like your post, there's this kind of mini CRM feature where you can make notes about these different people. So if they say had an issue before, you can make a note on there, so you can say that. Or if they've said before, we love your homemade raviolis, you could actually make a note on their kind of profile within Sprout Social to say loves raviolis. If someone said my anniversary is coming up next week, we're coming in, you could say has anniversaries sometime around these dates. And so it's kind of cool that way, because if people are commenting and say 3 months down the road, this person comments again, then you could say, oh yeah, well, we hope to see you in sometime too. We'll make sure to, have a nice hot plate of homemade ravioli for you, since we know that you love it so much. And so that's one of the really good features about Sprout Social, the things that I like about it as well. It does have a really robust image creator, which I don't have listed here. but it is available on the higher pricing tier. So for another thing I don't have listed here, I didn't because it's on the agency side, but I know there's some people on here that do freelancing, is that with Sprout Social, there's certain tiers where you can actually upload all of your images and organize them into folders so that when you are doing your social post, if you wanted to reuse an image instead of having to go find it on your computer somewhere, it's already loaded into the system and then you can just choose it. So you don't have to, they're all living within your dashboard. Okay, does anyone have any questions about platforms? It's a quiet crowd today. Okay, so on top of having a way to be able to schedule your posts, you will definitely need a way to be able to design your assets. And so one of the most popular is Canva. It can be free anywhere to $12.95 a month. Canva is super friendly. User friendly. Most people that get into it find it very intuitive in terms of how to use it. Canva is great. For our team, because we use the entire suite of Adobe, there's also Adobe Spark, which can be free to $20 a month. Now, Adobe Spark is something that makes images, but within Adobe Spark, there's actually one that can make videos just based off the templates that they have. You can make videos really easily. And so if you're hoping to get, some kind of quick videos made out, you might want to check out Adobe Spark Video as well, not just the image creator. And I believe on the free account, it might have a little thing at the end saying like made with Adobe Spark. So it's up to you whether you feel like that would take away, and if you want to pay the $20 a month to be able to do that, that's okay. All right, and then there's Photoshop and Illustrator. So this is what we use a lot of the time. And it can be anywhere from $10 a month. If you're just wanting Photoshop, it can be $80 a month. There is a bit of a learning curve with any of the Adobe actual programs. So it might be something that you decide it's a little bit difficult, but they're trying to make it more user friendly. Every day they're putting out new things, and now they have built in into the Creative Cloud suite. So Photoshop now, they just came out with a new app, so it's easier to use from a tablet. And then they also have a lot of educational videos and tips and stuff throughout the platform. So if you've tried Photoshop, say 2 years ago, and you were like, that was way too hard for me, you might want to give it another go. Okay, so looking at video creation, probably the number one thing, easiest way to do would be just to go and just record it with your cell phone. People love that. People want to see you. They want to learn about you. They want to know you. And so being able to just do videos straight with your phone and not really have it polished at all is great. I spoke about Adobe Spark again. They do have different video options available, and so that's an app that you can use from your phone, from your tablet, from your desktop. So really wherever you are, you could be just quickly working on a video. And because the templates are so user-friendly, it can be sometimes very quick to work through. Okay. There's also this company called Lumen 5, and Lumen 5 is actually Canadian. Yay! They're based out of BC, I believe. And so what they do is they just really, what they were known for originally was taking blog posts. You would like put in the link to your blog post, and then it would like fill in a video automatically with content and images based on what your blog post is. Now it has a little bit more freedom where you can just start from scratch and that kind of thing, but they do have quite a few videos and templates and stuff like that that you can use there. There's Soapbox. So Soapbox is more like talking head style. It's great. And then you can do the traditional setup where you have, actual video recorders and lighting and all that fun stuff. I actually have it done there, but really, if you don't have to invest in it because it's not super important, or if you're just getting started with video, I know a lot of people that have actually invested into a lot of equipment and then just realize that they actually just like doing it from their phone. So I would start off small, and then if you need to get bigger, get bigger. All right. So we're going to go through section 8 now of the worksheet, and then you can just check off in terms of a scheduler. If you think that you're going to use a scheduler, you can check that off, or just use the native platform. With the photo and thumbnail design, you can check off if you think you're going to use SparkPost or Canva or a design team. And then with videos, you can look at that as well if you're going to use your cell phone or a video team or anything like that. So go ahead and just kind of go through and select your social media tools. And right now, we're just finishing up creating your content. And next, we're going to look at building your calendar. Okay, I think we're going to, we're probably okay to just kind of move on to the next step. Okay, so step 9 is all about mapping out your capabilities. It's great to be, a dreamer and think of all these fun things that you want to do, but at the end of the day, you need to be able to have the capabilities and the bandwidth to be able to do it. So when it comes to this, you need to ask yourself, how many people do you have to contribute to social media? Are you, a one-man show? Do you have, 2 to 3 people that can help? Is it primarily you, but there's other people that can like take videos while they're on the job or pictures on the job? Who do you have that can contribute to your social media? And then think about that, mark that down, and then once you're there, think about how much time do you think you can reasonably commit to your social media per week. And so this is really looking at what your calendar already looks like, what your tasks already look like. And is there time in the week that you can work on social media? And if so, how much time is that? So some people, this might be your primary job is just to do the marketing. And so social media might be allotted more time. Or you could be a small business owner and you have to do everything in your business. And social media kind of might often get put on the back burner, or you're only able to invest, an hour or 2 per week. So try to be reasonable and really honest with how that's going to play out for you in terms of how much time you think that you can commit to social media per week. And then the next thing you need to ask yourself is, how much money are you willing to budget for your social media management? So this could be platforms, right? Like Adobe Spark, or the scheduling platforms like Spark Social or Hootsuite, Buffer. Is there a budget that you have to live within in terms of being able to manage your social media? And so if you can only invest, my headphones a little. If you can only invest, say, $100 a month, then the most robust of Sprout Social probably would be too expensive. If you know that you're only posting on Facebook and you want to be able to create videos and images. You might decide that you would rather just schedule your post right within Facebook, but be able to use that $100 um, to be able to pay for a graphics builder kind of thing. And so looking at um, how much you can budget towards that. And then once you get there, now it's looking and verifying your content mix. So in step 7, we would have mapped out what our content mix is. And so knowing now how many people you have to help you, how much time you can commit to it, and how much money you can budget for it, because social media management, it could be you're paying for platforms in-house, or it could be that you're outsourcing to someone like our team at Geronimo Solutions. So if you look at the things that you want to do in terms of your content mix, just ask yourself, now that we're here, does this look doable? So go ahead and just kind of map out your capabilities and fill that section out. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is look at um, creating your calendar. And so that's step 10 on the social media strategy worksheet. So you'll notice on this slide, it's just the one row, but there's actually quite a few rows on the calendar on the worksheet. And so here is what I like to do is kind of map out what we call the topic wheel. And you know what? I don't have it. I don't have a topic wheel in the handout. If just okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen just so I can show you what I mean here. Okay, so what we like to do here, and so this is just like kind of visually a topic wheel. And so you can map this out even like on your notebook first. But what we kind of like look at is, okay, well, what are the top things that this business needs to talk about? And so this is Rico's. They're a local company that makes pasta. They're delicious. They're available at the Metro. And we just actually ordered a bunch through the Ring It Club's fundraiser. So we have a lot of Rico's at our house right now. But in terms of things that Rico's themselves would want to talk about is the history. They've been around for a really long time. And they've been in business since 1985. Also, we would want to look at fundraisers. They do a lot of fundraisers, and it helps them, one, make sales, but it also helps them support the community. There's also things like becoming a distributor, because Rico's is always wanting to grow their reach. They're going to want to be able to talk to people that maybe own stores that would want to become a distributor. Also becoming a retailer, and then Northern Ontario branding. So locally made, supporting local businesses, talking about the different locations they have across Ontario, And then looking at authentic Italian food. They make it with fresh ingredients, high quality ingredients, authentic family recipes, Nono approved. And then there's feel good. So that can be like pics of pasta being made, school team pics from fundraisers. It could be meal recipes and videos using Rico's products like how-tos, and then funny viral jokes and pics. So those are just some of the different things that they can talk about. And then from there, we would decide, okay, well, should that be an image? Should it be a video? Should it be a link to, the history page on their site with a little excerpt? We like to look at ours as almost like a topic wheel. And so I'm just going to, again, okay. Now I'm just going to jump into a different before and after, or a different topic wheel, just so you can see it a little bit different. So this is a topic wheel. Pardon me. Okay, so this is a topic wheel for a makeup company, and this is OC, they're a local company. So our topic wheel for them was really about, like, they had a lot of different products. And so sometimes it can be overwhelming when you have so many things to talk about, but not really sure how to do it. So we broke theirs down into 7 different kind of areas. So there's this essential oils and diffusers. So it's just like how to use them. Diffusers versus like room mist, family friendly smells, how to relax, tips and health facts. There's so many different things within that. And so if you can think of like high level topics, and then kind of break them down into subtopics, that's how we decide. And then what ends up happening is then now we have these topics and we can say, well, we know that we want to talk about essential oils at least 3 times in a month. So we could then come and then put that onto our calendar and say, okay, we know that every second Monday we want to talk about essential oils. They also have services for salon and spa owners. That could be something that we know, okay, well, we want to talk about that for once a week because that's a high driver for us. We want to always be getting new salon and spa owners on. Bath products, those are our number 1 sellers. So we're going to run that every week. We know every week we want to, and they don't necessarily have to be on the same day, but it can be. But you can say, okay, well, we know that we want to at least be posting 4 times a month or once a week about bath products. And so once you come back, once you are on that step 10 and you're creating your calendar, you've kind of mapped out the content that you can do. And if you start looking at the topics that you know you want to speak to, then pairing those together, saying, okay, well, we know that we want to talk about our history. We can link people to, we have a history page on our site. So that's where we're going to link to. And then for those posts, we're just going to take little 1 to 2 sentences from that page and just be sharing the link. That's always going to be a link post. It could be for, if it's product based, okay, well, we know we want to talk about bath products at least 4 times in the month. And those could be pictures because we know that visually people want to be able to look at pictures of the product. Or maybe they could be videos that are just done on our cell phone of us showing how to use these products. And so once you start looking at, okay, well, we know that this is how much time we have. This is the things that we need to talk about. Let's map that out. And then just start mapping out your calendar and kind of going from there. If you're mapping out your calendar right now and you kind of have questions about what to put out where, feel free to put it in the comments or in the chat. All right. Now, does everyone kind of want to take the time right now to map out their calendar? Just through the chat. Okay. Okay. Awesome. So one of the things that we can do is always look at kind of audit. You can audit or diagnose how your social media is to date. And so when we do this, we kind of go by a few things. And so this audit tool is available. It's the second one in the handouts, the 4-point social media strategy. So if you download that and then open it up, you can go to your social media account and then just kind of look at this. So there's kind of 4 sections in terms of kind of doing like an audit. So the grading element, the first one is relevance. And so this is an audit that you can do. You can do it now, and then you can do it. It's just something that you can continually do. So in terms of relevance, are you publishing content that addresses the 3 goals that you established in step 1? If you said that you wanted to drive traffic to your website, have you been doing posts that really go to that goal? Are you using like Facebook because you know you can drive traffic, and you're using a lot of links to your website? If you are, great, give yourself 4 points. In terms of if you're only doing it sometimes, then you can grade yourself anywhere from 4 to 1 points, and you can decide which one works best for you. And then there's cadence, which is the amount of content published meets or exceeds the number of weekly posts committed to in your content calendar. And so if you've committed to posting, once a day, then are you meeting that, or are you, kind of halfway there? That kind of thing. You can give yourself a score between exceptional to unsatisfactory. And then in terms of engagement, looking at how much engagement you have on your posts, and is it rising? Are you getting more followers? And so looking at that and just basing it off the different things here, looking between 1 and 4, how would you rate the engagement you have? And then creative quality. So once you get into this, you're going to be creating new types of content than maybe you previously had. So your content ideas are, you're going to want them to be consistent with your goals in terms of creating content that informs, entertains, and engages. So if you feel that your content is consistent from post to post in terms of creative quality and just design, being on brand, then just give yourself a grade on that. And then when you come down, you can add up your score. And then if you feel that there's always things that we can do better, you can mark down your action items and then kind of hit the ground running, but know that there's things that you want to modify. So this is a really great audit to kind of come back to, even if it's not, monthly, it might be quarterly. We work on a lot on like quarterly schedules when it comes to social media posting. Aside from like those one-off posts that are just really timely, we will look at doing a quarter worth of posts at a time. And so for us, we'll come do the audit, do the action items, and then from there, be able to look and see how we want to adjust. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay, perfect. So we are actually finishing up a little earlier than usual because a lot of times this is done kind of in person as we go. But some final tips is don't overthink your content. It doesn't need to be super complex. It's just just think about if you were talking to a friend and you wanted to tell them about this, what would you say? And remember to produce content that speaks to your goals. So if you know you want to drive traffic, well, you probably don't have to create, 20 different videos because people are going to watch videos. They're not going to click on your video and go to your website. Vice versa. If you know that you're wanting, more engagement, well, just to produce the content that speaks to that goal. Also, don't take yourself too seriously. People love, 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 love when people are, goofy and fun and authentic and themselves, just like you love that about probably your best friend in the world. People will love that about your business as well. So don't be afraid and don't take yourself too seriously. And then also test. It's great when you can think of something new and to test it and see how it works. But it's okay too if some things don't work. Like for us, not everything that we put out is a winner. Not everything can be a winner. Some things you put out and they don't do as well as you think they're going to. And then some things you put out and all of a sudden they go viral and you're like, I have no idea. I did not realize that that was going to do as well as it does. And so that's where if you allow yourself that space to be curious about different pieces of content and different content types and all of that, then it can be really fun to test and try different kind of pieces of content and to create different pieces of work. And yeah, so that's what I have to say about that. And so we are wrapped up a little bit early, and you've all been so quiet today. Can you let me know if you have any questions or also, if you do have questions after the fact, if you haven't been doing it while we've been running through it, please feel free to shoot me an email. I'm always here to help, and then yeah, we'll go from there. I'll stay on the line for a couple minutes just to make sure that nobody has any other questions. Some of you have been doing public or private chats, so I'm just gonna wait and see if anyone has any questions. Otherwise, I hope that you all have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon.